Welcome back to the Economic Sutra for this final episode.
Yeah.
And for those just joining us, this series is brought to you by Audiocast Lab India. They're really a one-stop shop for all of your podcasting needs.
Yeah, it's incredible.
They can really help bring your podcasting dreams to life. So in this final episode, we're going to be wrapping up our exploration of how a 3,000-year-old text can be shockingly relevant to the challenges we face in the 21st century.
I know.
You know, things like climate change and inequality.
It's incredible.
It really is.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how these ancient principles can actually shed light on contemporary issues.
Yeah.
One of the most striking things, I think, is how the Economic Sutra doesn't treat sustainability as an add-on.
Right.
You know, it's woven into the very fabric of economic thought.
So it's not like a separate chapter on being green.
Yeah.
It's more like sustainability is the foundation of the entire economic model.
Exactly. For instance, ancient Indian agricultural practices were all about long-term productivity.
Yep.
You know, think water conservation, crop rotation.
Right.
These techniques ensure that the resources weren't depleted for future generations.
Right.
It was a way of life, not just a policy.
I see. So it sounds like they really understood that you can't have a thriving economy on a depleted planet.
Right.
So what other areas did this concept of sustainability touch on?
Well, ethical trade practices were also a big focus.
Okay.
The idea was to consume mindfully, not taking more than what was needed.
Right.
And, you know, this resonates so strongly with today's concerns about overconsumption and its impact on the environment.
It's incredible they were thinking about these things thousands of years ago.
I know.
So did this long-term thinking influence other aspects of their society, like public works projects?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ancient Indians invested in roads, irrigation systems, and infrastructure that would benefit not just them, but generations to come.
I see.
They understood that true prosperity meant thinking beyond immediate gains, not just for themselves.
Okay, now let's move on to another crucial topic. Social equity.
Okay.
What can you tell us about how the Economic Sutra approached this?
The text emphasizes fairness and balance as the bedrock of a healthy society.
Okay.
And it promotes a system of taxation that doesn't disproportionately burden the poor. It wasn't just about collecting revenue.
Right.
It was about collecting it fairly.
So it sounds like they were trying to prevent the kind of economic disparities that we see so often today.
Exactly.
So what other mechanisms did they use to promote social equity?
The concept of dayan, or charity, played a significant role.
Okay.
It encouraged voluntary giving as a way to support those less fortunate and to bridge the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
I'm really struck by this idea.
Yeah.
It seems to suggest a deep sense of social responsibility, almost a moral obligation to care for one another.
Yeah.
So how does that concept translate to the modern world?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
You could argue that it aligns with modern ideas like universal basic income or robust social safety nets.
Yeah.
You know, these are systems designed to ensure that everyone has at least a basic level of economic security.
It's about recognizing that a truly prosperous society takes care of all of its members.
Yeah.
Speaking of taking care, let's shift gears to ethical leadership.
Okay.
What were the guiding principles for leaders in ancient India?
Well, one of the core ideas is that a leader is a custodian, not an owner of wealth. Their primary duty was to the well-being of all citizens, not personal enrichment.
That's quite a contrast to some historical figures who saw themselves as entitled to the kingdom's riches.
Right.
So what role did transparency play in this model of leadership?
Transparency was vital.
Okay.
The ancient Indians believed that open governance fostered trust and stability. When people could see how decisions were made and resources were allocated, it built confidence in the leadership and the system as a whole.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Transparency helps prevent corruption and the abuse of power.
Right.
Problems that sadly persist even today.
Absolutely.
So did this focus on ethical leadership also extend to long-term planning?
Absolutely.
Good.
Ancient Indian leaders were encouraged to prioritize long-term goals over short-term gains. They understood that sustainable prosperity required planning for the future, not just chasing quick wins.
That's a powerful message for today's world, where there's so much pressure for
I know, right?
instant gratification and immediate results.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most important takeaway for listeners when it comes to this idea of ethical leadership?
I think it challenges us to ask ourselves,
Huh.
how can we apply these principles to address contemporary issues?
Yeah.
How can we create systems that prioritize the common good and the long-term well-being of society?
Those are some really profound questions.
They are.
And if you're out there thinking, I wish I could share my own ideas on a platform like this, then AudioCast Lab India is the perfect place to start.
Right.
They'll help you every step of the way. You can find more information about them in the episode description.
Yeah.
Now let's delve into another fascinating area. Innovation and adaptability in ancient India.
Okay.
So give us an example.
Okay.
How do they demonstrate innovation and adaptability?
Well, the Gupta Empire, which flourished between the 4th and 6th centuries CE, was a prime example.
Right.
They were ahead of their time in many ways, particularly in their use of metallurgy and mathematics to drive economic growth.
It's amazing to think about the advancements they made so long ago.
It is.
So what were some of their key innovations?
Well, their innovative spirit led to breakthroughs in iron production and shipbuilding.
Yeah.
The Guptas were pioneers in their time, really pushing the boundaries of what was possible.
It's a reminder that innovation isn't a modern invention.
Right.
It's a human impulse that's been driving progress for millennia.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about technological advancements, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Their trade networks were incredibly adaptable.
Okay.
Shifting with geopolitical changes to maintain economic strength.
Right.
They were masters at identifying new markets, establishing new trade routes, and adjusting to the global dynamics.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
They understood that clinging to outdated models in a changing world is a recipe for disaster.
Right.
So what else contributed to this remarkable adaptability?
Another interesting aspect was the role of guilds, known as shrinis.
Right.
These functioned almost like modern-day professional associations, fostering collaboration and knowledge sharing within specific industries.
It's interesting how this ancient system foreshadows the importance we place on lifelong learning and skills development today. So in a rapidly changing world, what lessons can we draw from this ancient Indian emphasis on innovation and adaptability?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it challenges us to ask ourselves, both individually and as a society, how can we cultivate the flexibility and innovation needed to thrive?
Yeah.
How can we embrace change and adapt to new challenges and opportunities?
These are definitely questions worth pondering.
They are.
We've covered a lot of ground in this episode.
We have.
Exploring the surprisingly relevant insights of the Economic Sutra.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the final episode of the Economic Sutra. It's amazing how these ancient ideas are so relevant today. So let's bring it all together. How can we actually use this ancient wisdom to tackle modern problems?
Well, it's fascinating to see how these ancient ideas can be reinterpreted and applied to contemporary issues.
Yeah.
Remember that core principle of balance we talked about?
Right.
That's key. Ancient Indian economics wasn't about chasing profits at all costs.
Right.
It was about finding that balance between economic growth, social well-being, and environmental sustainability.
So it wasn't just about making money.
Yeah.
It was about making a good society. In a way.
Right.
It sounds very holistic, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. For example, environmental protection was seen as essential for long-term economic prosperity. This wasn't just about being nice to nature.
Yeah.
It was a practical understanding that if you destroy your natural resources, you destroy your economy's foundation.
It's like they were saying, hey, if we want to keep this party going, we better take care of the house.
Exactly. They understood that a healthy economy depends on a healthy environment.
Right.
And this emphasis on balance extends to the social realm as well. Remember the concept of dawn or charity? That wasn't just about individual acts of kindness. It reflected a deep understanding of social responsibility.
So it was about recognizing that a healthy society needs to take care of its most vulnerable members. It's about ensuring that everyone has a chance to participate and contribute.
Precisely. And this idea translates beautifully into modern concepts like social safety nets and welfare programs.
Right.
These aren't just handouts, they're investments in human capital, ensuring that everyone has a chance to contribute to society.
It's about creating a more level playing field.
Right.
So to speak. Everyone gets a fair shot.
Right. And this brings us to another key takeaway.
Okay.
The importance of long-term vision. Ancient Indian economic thought emphasized investing in infrastructure and education.
Right.
Not just for immediate gains, but to build a foundation for lasting prosperity.
So it wasn't just about quick fixes. It was about creating a strong and resilient economy for the future.
Yeah.
Did this long-term thinking apply to the private sector as well? Or was it mostly focused on governance?
It applied across the board. Think about it.
Yeah.
If you neglect education,
Right.
you limit your workforce's potential. If you don't invest in infrastructure, you hamper economic growth and development.
It's like neglecting the foundations of a house. Eventually, the whole structure becomes unstable.
Right.
It's fascinating how these ancient principles are so relevant to modern businesses as well.
Yeah.
So what can businesses today learn from this ancient wisdom?
I think businesses need to think beyond quarterly profits and consider their impact on society and the environment.
Right. So businesses need to think beyond quarterly profits and consider their impact on society and the environment.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that their actions have ripple effects that extend far beyond their balance sheets.
Precisely. And this brings us back to that fundamental concept of balance.
Right.
It's about finding a way to achieve economic success in a way that is sustainable, ethical, and benefits all members of society.
It's a powerful message, and it challenges us to think differently about what it means to be truly prosperous.
It does.
What would you say are the most important questions we should be asking ourselves
Oh, that's a good question.
as we navigate the complexities of the modern world?
It's not just about how much money we make, but about the kind of world we create.
Yeah.
Are we building an economy that is equitable and sustainable?
Right.
Or are we simply perpetuating a cycle of inequality and environmental degradation?
Those are tough questions.
Yeah.
But they are questions that we need to ask ourselves as we navigate the complexities of the modern world. And as we wrap up this final episode of the Economic Sutra, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've been on together.
Yeah.
We've explored some profound and surprisingly relevant ideas from an ancient text, haven't we?
We have. And it's a testament to the enduring wisdom of these ancient principles that they continue to resonate with us today,
Right.
offering guidance as we grapple with some of the most pressing challenges of our time. And for those listeners who want to delve deeper into this fascinating world of ancient Indian economic thought, we highly recommend checking out the books suggested in the episode description. You'll find links to purchase them on Amazon or Flipkart.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the Economic Sutra with all of you. These books offer incredible insights into ancient Indian culture and governance and economic practices, and they provide a valuable lens through which to view modern-day challenges.
Yeah, they really do. It's fascinating to see how these ancient ideas can be reinterpreted and applied to contemporary issues.
And before we sign off, I want to express my gratitude to Audiocast Lab India for making this series possible. If you're inspired to share your own stories and insights through podcasting, they're the perfect partner to help you on that journey. Their contact information is in the episode description.
Absolutely. They can help you bring your podcasting vision to life.
Now back to the Economic Sutra. It's more than just an ancient text.
It's a treasure trove of wisdom that offers guidance for creating a more just, sustainable, and prosperous world.
The ethical and holistic approach to economics presented in the Economic Sutra serves as a powerful reminder that economic policies are ultimately about people and their well-being.
Yeah, it's a message that is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.
So as we conclude this final episode, we invite you to reflect on what has resonated with you most during this journey.
What surprised you? What insights will you carry with you?
We hope that this exploration of the Economic Sutra has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to think differently about the world around you.
Remember, the wisdom of the past can illuminate the path to a brighter future.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the Economic Sutra. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving to create a world where prosperity and well-being are shared by all.